So I'm Olivia Pranic. I'm an industrial design student as well. So I'm currently in my 4th year doing my honours project, which is, I think, what they covered a little bit earlier. But I think the main reason that I'm here to talk to you guys is because my project is embedded within a design consultancy called Whistle Design Group, and they're based in Melbourne. And I think working with them has been probably the biggest eye opener when it comes to the design work that we learn at school compared to what actually happens in industry. I think it's really great that you've got Will working and Juliet and stuff to change the course of enterprise, because I think it's going to be really, really important for you guys to learn. I wish that I had learned this stuff before I jumped into doing industry work. Anyway, basically Whistle, I'll tell you a bit about Whistle. Will, feel free to jump in at any time if you want to put me on track. Whistle Design Group is an industrial design consultancy, and they are experts in designing power tools. So they design big power tool companies such as Milwaukee will hire an industrial design consultancy to maybe design a new range of power tools for them, or perhaps they've got a range of power tools that's already been designed that they want to add a couple more tools to, or there's even an umbrella company that owns these subsidiaries that will hire a consultancy to come in and do some work for any of their their brands that they own. So that's basically what Whistle does. They also sometimes pitch designs to clients, like larger companies, if they come up with something that's innovative, or they'll get people who are individuals will come to Whistle with an idea, like, oh, I have this really cool idea for a toy that I want to design, something that's not even related to power tools, but they want to work with an expert industrial design consultancy. So that's what Whistle does, and there's about 12 of us. I'm an intern, so I am the bottom of the barrel. I get all the jobs that are like I'm assisting people, or I'm helping with coming up with quick ideas or sketches. So there's that. There's also engineers on board in the consultancy. So how did I get into Whistle? I'm so through my honors project, when I started honors, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I had a bunch of different ideas. I was just telling Will earlier that was thinking of doing something related to disaster relief or helping people. But my coordinator, Sumitra, who's my honors professor, he was helping me sort of guide me to find something more industry related, because he thought, I thought we both thought that might be something that would be more helpful for my future and my career. And that's probably been the best shift that I've done in this whole course, allowing myself to embed myself in the industry and learn a little bit more. So Sumitra was guiding me, and he introduced me to a bunch of different companies and consultancies, and I met up with a few of them and had meetings, and we sort of interviewed each other and decided to go with Whistle, because I think for me it was a really terrifying experience to do something that I'd never done before, which is power tools, and something that I don't know anything about. Well, I didn't know anything about, and I was kind of overwhelmed by the whole concept of the industry. Is real male dominated, and I'm not really the target market for the product. So I thought this would be a perfect way to test my abilities as an industrial designer, and learn a lot, because I think maybe doing something where I'm comfortable, I'm not throwing myself outside of that that box, that learning box, and yeah, it's been really incredible. And it's actually not as scary as it seemed. Like when I first started, it was really scary. And I thought, oh, God, I'm going to fail this hard out. But it's been really great. And yeah, you learn quickly if you're interested in what you do, I guess. Yeah, it's been something that's really interesting. And yeah, so they gave me an invitation to come and have a chat with them. And I followed up on that, and I chatted to Paul Connor, who's he's one of the directors at Whistle, and he was giving me maybe weekly meetings. We decided to do the embedded internship. Well, it wasn't going to be an internship at that point, so it was an embedded project where he decided to allow me to learn from him, like absorb his information and use that in my thesis. And then I also would come up with some ideas for him, and that was our give and take relationship. Because I think a lot of people in the industry also we want to work with them really badly, but also they really want our fresh ideas and opinions, and they want to be able to mentor because that gives them so there's something that there's give and take for both of us in that situation. And yeah, so I went in, like, we did it online actually because it was COVID, and then I decided to tell him, I'm going to come in, I'm going to do an internship with you. And then he said, okay, I guess we'll set up a spot for you. And then that's how they got their first intern, which is a little bit cheeky, but you have to sort of do that, I think, especially when you're in such it's really saturated industry in Australia, and everybody wants the jobs as industrial designers. You sort of have to force yourself in sometimes in places that you may not be ready to take that opportunity yet. Well, that's just my personal opinion, but everyone might feel differently about that. But it's been really great, and they've been really welcoming. And now I work there full time. Well, or actually, it's part time. So 3 days a week now that we're back at honors. And within Whistle, I guess they have given me a insane amount of knowledge considering the short amount of time that I've been there. So 6 months so far, I think. They have trainee days where they train their staff about things such as like plastic injection molding, and they have video tutorials on how to do things like SolidWorks, which I really am not very good at, but I was okay at Fusion 360. But yeah, they work in SolidWorks. I think a lot of people in the industry work in SolidWorks, which is, and then they also, when it comes to like sketching and stuff, I think something that I was really worried about before going into this job was like, oh, my sketching levels are not going to be good enough. But I've noticed we all do these whiteboard sessions where we come up with ideas on the whiteboard, and you have to sort of interact with each other and talk and explain, and you get into a zone where you're all blabbering ideas out, and you notice that everybody draws like you, and it's okay to be kind of a shitty drawer as long as you can get your point across. So that's been really cool. I think that's my favorite part. Whiteboard sessions, everybody's like throwing ideas out, and I think that's a really cool way of communicating as a designer, like being able to just, but yeah, a lot of that comes with like just say all the stupid ideas and getting all those stupid ideas out, and everyone has stupid ideas, but then one of them, they'll be like, oh, why didn't you say that? Okay, let's go with that. And then you feel a little bit validated in your attempts at like trying to get involved, especially, I don't know, when you're starting out. I don't know what it's like when you're a bit older and like more stabilized in the industry, but when you're starting out, you don't want to be like pushing away too hard, but it is really good to do that, I think, sometimes, or else you're never going to be heard. That's what I found. Yeah, I don't know what else. That's basically all that I had really to share with you, but if you have some questions, I'd be very happy to answer them. Hope that's what you were looking for, Will.
Absolutely, that was wonderful. Thank you. And absolutely, does anybody have any questions? Would anybody like to ask anything from Olivia, some advice or anything about her experience or any sort of reflections that you have on anything? I'm going to switch it off and let you talk.
You can ask me anything. I'm happy to answer.
Sorry, hi Olivia.
Hey.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering, now that I'm in my third year and stuff, and you start thinking what path you want to go down and what you want to do in your honors course and stuff like that. You get all these emails about, getting internships and stuff like that. What do you need to really start doing to start getting into the industry? Because what I find is you can learn all these things through industrial design, like you can do industrial design engineering, then you can do CAD and stuff. And at the end of the day, when you go on holidays, you kind of just forget about that stuff, and then you kind of linger on, and then you spark your interest and you just keep going. So how do you actually get into the industry? Do you just randomly contact people, say this is what I can do, or does RMIT help a lot with that in certain ways, or what is like the specific ways in which you can actually start getting into industries?
Yeah, that's a really good question because that's something that I've always wanted to know as well before. But I think my way was if you know someone, so you've got Will here for you, and Chitan. I don't know you, Chitan, but I'm sure you've got many people in the industry who you know. Having those contacts and being able to ask, do you know anyone who's looking for an intern, or is there anybody who's working in the, that's how I managed to find my way. But also, like, you do have all those opportunities that the RMIT staff like puts up, all of those internship opportunities. I'm getting spam emails, which is great for people who are needing it. And I think taking those opportunities is really, really important. Like you said, though, like if you're tapping that, you're having a break, just stay interested in design as well. That's something that I found really important between the times. There's such a huge break. And I did all these like tiny little I don't know, little projects and stuff. And I think that's been really helpful for me to get onto a level where I'm able to like come into a business with the level of, I don't know, design skills. I think there's so much that you can do at uni, but if you keep staying interested in the whole community, then you might be able to find like something that fits into your, I don't know, into what you're interested in. But Will might have or you guys might have a better
No,
answer.
yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, no, because I agree. Because I think with the same with high school and uni is that you need to work to get an ATAR and work to get the grade and stuff, but you don't actually retain any of the knowledge you learn, and you kind of just forget it the next year. And I think
Yeah.
what you made a point of, or what the main thing I kind of just took out of that then was doing these little projects that interest you that aren't actually
Yeah.
related to uni work. So
100%.
yeah, so if I wanted to look into going down the robotics version of design or the coding version of design, or more machinery hands-on, I'd be doing little projects like making robotic arms, looking at companies that do design machinery and stuff like that. That's what I could be doing in the free spare time.
Yeah, and I think the whole idea of like absorbing all this information isn't as important as maybe all the connections that you make. I think that for me, that's been the most important thing. I've always put so much emphasis on like, write it all down, absorb it all, but I think realistically, what comes out of this course is the best thing that could come out of this course is the ability to communicate and connect with other designers and share your ideas. And there's like all this stress sort of goes when you realize that and you can just enjoy it and then throw yourself into things like contact one of those people who's doing the robotic arm things and ask them, hey, do you need someone who's willing to do, I don't know, an hour a week cleaning the arm? I don't know, just ask them, can
Yeah,
I
yeah,
do this? Let me do this. Yeah, and just be confident about it. And if they could say no, then whatever, it's just a no.
yeah. No, perfect.
But
Thank
yeah,
you.
that's all good. Does anyone else have anything to ask me?
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
What do you think is a good skill set that like the employers are looking for when they hired you? Like, what do you think like between sketching, rendering, and CAD? What do you think is the like most important skill set to have?
I think the one thing that I found for myself personally for this job is the ability to communicate with everybody, with the clients, which is something that I found really intimidating. That is something that is mainly the basis of the job. If you can't do that, you don't get any work. So you have to be able to present yourself in a way that you can. I don't know. I'm still really learning, and as you can tell, I jumble over my words, but the ability to connect with your clients, and I think also, yeah, CAD, being able to do CAD. I don't think the cam stuff is as important, but being able to render up something, I mean, quickly CAD something up that it depends on what job you're going for, but if you're doing power tool design, you need to be able to come up with a bunch of different designs really quickly. Mostly though, you use sketching, so this fast sketching, rather than don't worry about sketch rendering. I'm probably going to step on someone's toes when I say that. That's not important anymore. I think it's obsolete. It's cool to do and it looks really pretty, but I don't think that anybody ever uses that anymore. CAD is probably way more to go, but yeah, quick sketching, being able to convert your ideas into something in front of a client that looks acceptable as well, because you want to be able to also look professional. And yeah, bringing a level of professionality. Yeah, that's about it, I think, though. Also, having a little bit of graphic design knowledge is also useful. Yeah.
Wow, this is comprehensive. Thank you so much.
Oh, okay. No worries.
Hi, Olivia.
Hi.
Hi. What you said about drawing makes me feel a lot better about everything.
Oh,
I guess
good.
that is an issue for me.
I wish someone had told me that, honestly.
Yeah. Seriously, really good advice. And then before you got the internship and you were studying at uni, what sort of industrial design did you like to do? Like furniture, wearable tech,
I was trying a lot of everything out. I really like generative design, but that was just because I think I did a generative course and that really pushed me into that area. But basically, I think a lot of what I enjoyed is creating is like art design. So doing weird objects that wouldn't really be usable, but maybe it's like a play on words or some sort of poetic visualization of something. So changing to something that's really industrial design, product design has been a huge shift. But I think you can incorporate those visualization skills into whatever you're doing. What are you interested in? Was it Jasmine?
Yeah, I really love automotive design and wearable technology. But also the same as Ben, I'm getting spammed with these emails of internships and I'm so overwhelmed. I have no idea what to choose for that for that elective.
Yeah, I think honestly just do something, just do it. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
If it's a little bit of experience, then it's better than nothing.
And when you apply, what do you show them? Just a folio and your ability to talk to them, I guess.
Keep your folio small.
Yeah.
With all your best stuff, and then it's ability to communicate with them, and I mean, basically just trying to, what they want is someone who fits into their group already or what they have. And you don't want to also, I mean, if it doesn't work, if you can tell that this is not the workspace for you, you don't have to do the job just because I'm telling you to, but you should find something that you like, of course. But it's best, I think, at this point to get as much experience as we can, right?
Definitely. Thank you.
It's all right.
Just on that note, with your portfolio, did you show any of your process stuff as well? Did you show the Paul how you got about doing what you did and what choices and why you made those choices?
I did. I had the only process stuff that I had was sketches towards something, but the amount of stuff that I showed him was minimal because basically we just talked. So I think sometimes you don't even have to show anything. I think it's really important though to have the how you get to that place, as long as it's not too much. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm not an expert. I'm just some guy.
No, you're not just some guy. So before you said you did this report for them, but I don't think that you did justice to the level of what you did there. So what was Paul's response when he saw what you produced with the Airtable and what have you? Or would you like to talk a little bit more about the actual production of the outcome that you did that actually really then sparked the next level of what was going on and how that fed back into them as far as the freshness of the thinking was concerned?
Yeah, great. So when I was putting all the things together, my research for power tool design, I had to come up with what they wanted from this was for me to find a gap in the industry. And this is an industry that's absolutely saturated already. And it's pretty much near to, yeah, there's not many gaps. Let's just say that. The amount of gaps fit into like an A4 page. And usually with a product design, you can just go crazy with all these ideas and stuff. But with power tool design, it was really minimal. Anyway, with all the research that I did, I had, did you want me to talk? Okay, yeah. with the research that I had, I collected all these images and stuff together on Pinterest, which is something I'm sure all of you use. And then I created Gantt charts, and I created like timelines, and I did all of this ethnographic research in embedding myself into the community of power tool users, and I brought all that back together, and I designed the honors thesis. The first semester, you're supposed to follow this specific, I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for this, but you're supposed to follow these like specific rules. They tell you, you have to write this chapter and then this chapter, and you have to stick to these, which I think, well, for me, I found that just confining into a space where that my project just didn't fit. So I decided to scrap all of that and write my own chapters and create what I wanted to get out of it was to give something to the internship, to Paul Connor, to Whistle, which was a book for like a guide to how to design power tools for their future interns, which, yeah, I mean, any of you guys can take that idea and do that yourselves as well, because it's been like it was a huge success. Like Paul really loved the information that I was getting, and he really wanted to see some way that he could keep this and collate it and share it to the future interns or people that he wants to teach, because this is all stuff that he's been teaching me, and he didn't have a place where it was all written down. So yeah, I turned it into a book, which was like, I think it was like 8 chapters or something. And it was a huge book, and I've got all the steps on how, because there's nothing out there that teaches you how to design power tools. I've got all the steps on how to design power tools, and it's basically just everything that I learned throughout that semester. Yeah, and I mean, I did really well with the grades. So if you're worried about getting a bad grade or whatever, even though that doesn't really matter, to be honest, but I mean, it matters. Work hard and get a good grade. I think if you work hard, it doesn't matter. You're going to get it doesn't matter what your grade is, because you're going to do the best that you can do. It doesn't. And I was told, oh, you're going to probably get like a really bad grade because you're going off the chart and you're doing your own thing and you're not following the rules. And then, yeah, just because I was like, okay, well, I'm doing what I really want to do, and I'm doing what I think is good for my career, and I think it's good for the industry, and I'm into this. Don't stop my vibe. Let's do this. Yeah. And then
Who told you were going to get a bit? Oh, no, I'll ask you that another time, because that's not. That's a bit weird that someone told you that. Anyway, but there was. But so basically, you consolidated everything that you had learned in that space into a concise book on how to design something, plus also all of the ethnographic research, all of the market research, all of the in the Airtable, all of the visuals of and how they fit and how they relate to each other as to who the designers are and what have you, who the companies are. That's a considerable amount of intellectual property and knowledge that you consolidated into a package that you gave to Whistle as an outcome. So their return on investment was absolutely incredible.
Yes, well,
because they've got now, they can hand that to any one of their interns and say, here, take a look at this, and you're already primed. Now imagine how many hours that saves Paul from having to come at a zero base as opposed to a mid-level base where someone can, and you probably even increase the knowledge capacity of the actual experienced designers, I would guess.
Yeah. A couple of the people at my work were like, oh, I didn't know that. Yes, that's great.
There you go. So that's what happens, I suppose, when you're activated and you're really interested in the space to really kind of delve a bit further and you really enjoy what you do. One of the other things I wanted to ask was, a big thing is courage, right? The courage to take those steps. And so we all feel fear. All designers feel fear. And I constantly bang on about discomfort with ambiguity and uncertainty. And so I ask you about the feeling of ambiguity and uncertainty in the space that you walked into, and how you sat with the discomfort of those feelings and what you did to overcome that and just go, okay, I've got the courage to approach this, and what you observed in that environment of other designers and how they overcome their fear, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, I guess
Is that a good question?
No, it's quite loaded, but it's fine. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I guess for me it was I get so nervous. Even today, coming to talk to you guys, I like my stomach is knotting up and I freak out and I can't. I'm like, oh, maybe I won't be professional enough, or but I don't know, just do it. I always tell myself, just do it and you'll get over it. And once you're there, it'll be fine. You're just the idea of the thing is much scarier always than actually doing it. And then you just have fun because you'll settle in and be like, oh, everyone else has no idea what they're doing. It's fine. We're all kind of confused together. This huge thing of my first day at that job was terrifying. But once you sit in 20 minutes in, everybody's so friendly and you notice that you're all the same and they've got the same ideas as you. And after like a couple of weeks, I'm realizing that the ideas they come up with, like I always put them on such a pedestal, and realistically it's all the same stuff as what we can do. We have the ability, you've got the way of thinking from your studies, your design thinking. You just have to believe, you just have to know that you're basically the same as everybody else. It's fine. Like nobody's really special and we all can do it. I don't know how else to say it. I think it's a lot scarier. It seems a lot scarier than really what it is.
Amazing. That was an excellent answer. Thank you.
That's
Chitan, do you have any questions, Chitan?
Yes, unless there are any other questions from the floor.
Questions?
Questions, okay. No, I think I mean, I see what Juliet means by, so when she says that you're a rising star, because I think your document was really, really amazing, and I was fortunate to have a look at it. And I don't know, maybe you should have shared it in the presentation, but maybe we can find a way to get it across to everyone so that they can see it. And it's pretty incredible. I've gone into Airtable and it looks like Excel, so I don't know how you kind of put all of it together and exported it into something which is so comprehensive. I think even when you talk about how you do drawings and the renderings don't have to be 3D, I kind of, that image comes to my mind of your drill, which is done on Photoshop, and you've kind of written how you did it below it. But I think, and Olivia, we should find a way to share the document. If we have time today, maybe you could show us 5 or 6 pages, or so that we get a sense of what it is like. But what I'm also, it's also interesting that you talk about interfacing with the client, because that's what kind of runs the consultancy. It's not really how you design and how much you can design. It's about, going out there and finding the clients and keeping them there and kind of getting them to a place. So I think that's a very important skill set, and I think people can do it only either if they have a tremendous entrepreneurial edge, or if they are really, really passionate about their work or into it. But what I wanted to ask you was, so where are you at now? Like, I thought you finished your internship before the summer break, but you're still with Whistle and you're still doing your honors project.
Yeah.
And what are your plans after? Like, how do you transition now? Do you see yourself always working as an industrial designer? Are you going to start your own firm? Are you going to work with some other more complicated space? Are you bored of what you've done? Like, are you going to do this kind of a thing again for every product that you design, or are you going to kind of say bye-bye to all that and do something else? So I'm just curious about where you're at and where you're going, Olivia.
A good question. I haven't thought too far ahead, considering I'm still, I'm doing this next semester that I'm doing now. I don't know how to say this semester. Yeah, it is my final. So I'm going to get to the end of the semester and have a 3 to 5 power tools, like a range of power tools design, which is a lot. Yeah. Wow. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm actually now I've been working with them for so long. I realize, what have I done? 3 to 5 power tools is way too many. It's probably going to be on the edge of 2 to 3 power tools. But yeah, that's a huge task ahead of me. But I also was considering, I really wanted to live overseas again and like go maybe to Canada or somewhere, Germany. I've been learning German and do some different work with different people and try different places in the world. And yeah, I just want to keep pushing myself outside that comfort zone to learn more and more about different industries and eventually have my own firm, I hope, one day. But that's probably maybe like 10 years down the track. Yeah, that's a huge stepping stone. I still need to like step out of my student form into my.
No, that's what I meant. I think you're already out of your student thing. Like, really, I would imagine that people who see your work at the company are like really. I mean, it's also about being selective, having the right amount of information, looking at all those things, and then curating it so amazingly. It's really quite brilliant. And yeah, I mean, I feel when you were talking, you should have kind of had your presentation out there and just
No,
through it would have
I
been.
should have. Yeah, I'm sorry. I let you all down.
Oh, that's okay. So the 5 power tools, are they all like drills or are they different power tools? And were you aiming for one outcome and you came up with so many? Or was it always desired that there would be a set of power tools? Sorry, I'm taking too long. That's the last question.
I don't mind, but that's fine. Like, I love talking about it because again, I'm really passionate about power tools. But basically the 5, it's going to be a range that fits into one specific user group. The one, I can't really tell you what it is, but I mean, it'll hopefully be done by the end of the semester, but I'm not even sure if I'll be able to show anyone because I'm under an NDA, which is another thing that I'm not allowed to share any of the work that I'm doing. So everything I do, it's kind of frustrating because I've been in the zone of student where I make things and I share it and then I come up with more things and I communicate with all the people in the community. But once you're in a job where you've got an NDA, you're not allowed to share anything. And then you look like you haven't done any work for a long time.
That's why none of your prototypes are there in that presentation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like you have that picture with a Makita box, like, and I remember all my first power tools from Makita, and they're kind of cheap, but they're so amazing. So your power tools, are they like top end in the price sort of a thing, or are they like, what are they like then?
Yeah, it's going to be a high-end price range.
High-end.
So that means we'll be using really, it comes down to the material use that we'll have. So like metals, maybe some overmold, like plastic rubbery overmold, but most likely it's just going to be metal, like high gloss shinies. That's the thing that people connect with when they think about expensive or high end. Sorry. Hopefully it's also going to be a little bit more minimal than the power tool, and it's not in a general user category either. So it's going to be, it's going to be good. I hope.
No, absolutely.
I'm a little bit nervous. I'll talk the talk, but we'll see what happens.
No, I'm sure it will be awesome. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
For this semester and for getting your power tools out there in Bunnings.
Oh man. Oh.
All right.
Everybody though, if you ever need to ask anything, feel free to contact me. I'm happy if you want to reach out. Olivia Pranic. That's her name. Okay, thank you.
Soon to be director of Pranic Design. I could talk for hours about this, but we're coming up to time where we need to move on. So, does anybody have any burning questions they want to ask at the last minute?
Sorry, one more.
Yeah, do it.
Did you think the book you made or designed has like seriously helped you progress in the design industry, or do you think it was also a bunch of other little things that helped you along the way?
I think the fact that I decided to shift my focus away from university rules and guidelines to this is what I'm doing. I'm going to do my own thing. That was the biggest impact I think it's made, because now I just focus on what I think is important and what I mean.
Yeah.
Do my projects in the scope of the bigger world and what this can do to help people. I think that's the biggest. But
Okay.
I think also having the book and sharing it with the company was a really good way for me to show my ability when I could have just, been not shown anything. And then it's probably been you guys should, take a look at the book and then maybe you can do the same thing. It's probably the best way to make the most out of that first semester of honors. I don't really understand why we do all this research if there's no, I don't know, the way that it's laid out. I think you should do it in the way that is going to be the most beneficial towards your project rather than just doing it because it says to do it like that.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to be the person who's like telling everyone to change the rules and do your own thing.